In that reading, though, we see that the opening words are, Miriam and Aaron spoke against Moses on the pretext of the marriage he contracted with a Cushite woman. Interesting that it begins with Miriam and Aaron. That means that she was nagging him first. Normally, true, had a book written in that time, it always would have started with the man, unless it wanted to show that she broke him down, okay? But, okay, so we have Miriam and Aaron speaking against Moses on the pretext of a marriage he contracted with a Cushite woman. Now, I was poking around a little bit trying to figure out, is there more to the story? Why is him marrying a Cushite woman a big deal? I honestly didn't find a lot, but I can speculate. You have a people that for 400 years have been slaves. And they were slaves because they were Hebrew. What that creates then is a mentality of, this is us, this is our identity. We are a persecuted class of people. For 400 years, being a persecuted class of people, they've got this ingrained mentality. After 400 years, God miraculously takes them out of Egypt and sets them free. And again, that creates a very strong national identity. This is a unique people that God went out of his way just to help this people and stick this people over here and say, from now on, you are going to be my people. And Moses was supposed to be the leader of this people. So you can imagine the temptation, at least, to think, well, we're supposed to be this unique people that God is going to bless. And the guy who's our leader is marrying a foreigner. So you can imagine how that would cause gossip. And maybe you can't imagine, because I know there's no gossip ever in this parish. But anyway, in other places that might cause gossip. And ultimately, what was behind it? Just like usually when gossip starts, I don't think the problem was really the fact that he married some foreign woman. I think that was just kind of the thing that started stirring the drink, right? What it really came down to was what they said. Is it through Moses alone that the Lord speaks? Does he not also speak through us? Okay, here's the problem. We see that God has chosen Moses to be a leader. And these people are very close to Moses. They know him. They know his weaknesses. They see his defects. And they start thinking, look, why does Moses get to call all the shots, right? And again, that's something very human. And the reality, there's a lesson behind here, because God punishes them very strongly. He ends up leaving Miriam a leper, which, aside from the fact of just the natural horror of this horrible disease, which would be painful and humiliating and ugly, and lepers stink and all that, it also means she would be considered unclean, cast off from the Jewish people, separated. Okay? So God gave her a very heavy blow in order to teach her a lesson, teach them a lesson. And it's interesting again, you can see that Miriam must have been the instigator, or else he would have given it to Aaron. He didn't get it, she got it. But there's a lesson behind this. When God raises up people to be his representative in any capacity, he doesn't raise up people who are perfect. He doesn't raise them up necessarily because they are better at other people at all kinds of things. But what God sees is the heart. God raised up Moses not because he was a perfect man. We know that Moses committed sins because we can read it in the Bible. We know that Moses was shy and he was a bad speaker, and therefore God raised up Aaron in order to be his speaker and everything. We read this stuff in the Bible. But it also says that Moses was by far the meekest, most humble man on the face of the earth. That's why God chose him. Because Moses, despite the fact that he had whatever weaknesses and failures, and probably humanly speaking, people look at him and say, well, I mean, there's a number of people here that have more leadership skills than Moses. That's not the point. God chose Moses because he saw his heart. This man is docile to me. He will let me do what I want with him and through him. God looks at the human heart and he sees something different. And this is a temptation for all of us. It could be something as stupid as who gets to lead the choir, who is the one in charge of the prayer group, who is the one chosen to head religious education, who is the one, whatever. Okay? If we want to look for defects, you will find them. I promise. If you want to look for defects in whoever is chosen, whichever priest, all of us as well, whatever, you will find them. That's not the point. The point is, this is the person God chose. End of argument. Conversation over. And if we are humble enough to recognize when God has chosen somebody, that, okay, God has his reasons. And when we start gossiping and we start causing divisions and we start complaining because this person did, and I don't know why they chose that, and this person always gets it, and all these other things that we get into, look how God looks upon the situation. He made Miriam a leper when they complained. So, and then in the end, he makes it clear, he says, for Miriam and Aaron to be cured, reintegrated into society, to be put back on good terms, what was the process they had to go through? They had to go through Moses' prayers. Not until Moses prayed for them could they be back on good footing. God wanted to make sure, when I have chosen an instrument, this is going to be my instrument. And if you reject the instrument, you are rejecting me.